Alright, so we're into episode 10 of Sonic Heroes, running into the last two levels of, the story run of the game. And this sort of frustrated me because I had recorded a run of Egg Fleet, or so I had thought, just before this, yesterday. And it turns out, no, I had not. It looked like it had recorded, but it didn't. So I was kind of delayed in getting this out, but it just so happens to coincide with my 100th video. So we'll just have to see if I'm able to replicate the A rank run of this stage that I was able to do, unfortunately, off screen in a corrupted video file. And this is hands down my favorite stage in this game. The whole idea of running from ship to ship, and you can go from ship to ship in a bunch of different ways if you're just paying attention and looking for ways to go. Sure, you can follow the route that the game provides, and for the most part we're going to do that, but in this level, if you see something somewhere, chances are you could get there. Now, you have to be a little careful using Omega in this level because, as you can see, the passageways are pretty narrow. And while when you've got walls or something like that, that's not a big deal. When you're out on the ship, and since everything below us is a bottomless pit, the chances that Omega is going to slide you to your death it improves somewhat. But for the most part, by this point in the game, you're probably used to Omega's sliding around. And it's probably not that big a deal. I would make some sort of comment about Shadow here, but as you can see, I really stayed away from using Shadow all that much. And that may not seem right, for a Sonic game, not to take advantage of the speed character, but the Team Dark playthrough really is designed with, defeating enemies in mind. And as such, it would favor the power character. If you want a speed character run, you probably should pick Team Sonic, because then, the game sort of does play into Sonic's hands. Knuckles is a little bit less useful than Omega, although not incredibly so. But you've got that going on. So here we are. There's all sorts of turrets to beat up. There are enemies. There are flying enemies in places. We've got this bazooka trooper over here. You got to be careful about flying off the ship. And here we can go floating over here. Fortunately, there is a wall there. That was an opportunity to use Shadow's Lightspeed Dash. I goofed on that. Because for the most part, except for one part, I really like to use Shadow's Lightspeed Dash here. So here we're running forward. Now the reason we're trying to move quickly through these ships is because these cannons and turrets fire some interesting type of shots as we get hit by the E-1000 robots here. They're sort of like mortars, but unlike mortars, which, just sort of guess on where your position is, the turrets do a better job of tracking your motion. So you can end up getting hit by some of those big plunging shots. Right, then there are two sections, although you can play these again differently, because there's going to be lots of other ships you could potentially land on. But, you know, with the little propeller just flying around the sky, you seem incredibly exposed. You can see the Earth below you showing some signs of its curvature. You're not in space, but you might as well feel like you are. I mean, this is just such a neat level in concept. Now we take care of that big mortar, and we've got to get over. Unfortunately, if you want to get over all at once, you need to be a little bit better at controlling the speed character than I am. But, so in order to get back up, we're going to have to activate the switch, turn this fan on, and do it that way. Not a big deal. Then once we get here, it really is about getting Rouge's Thundershoot ability and shooting before they shoot you. So you jump a level and you shoot. You jump a level and you shoot. And that's just what you do to get to the top, even if there's nothing on a particular level. Okay, and then we can skip over to this pole, and this is going to take us up to the next level of the ship, where there's another E-1000 robot waiting for us, and we're going to, Mega's got stuck here. Now the E-1000 robots and the E-2000 robots have big guns that they can fire at you. And they also have shields, so you have to be careful. This was kind of funny, because I was supposed to use the rocket excel in this area, and you don't really have to do it. You can run through, and instead I ended up doing the tornado jump and sending myself back into danger. But the E-1000, E-2000 robots, not the most important characters in the world, but they will shield themselves from you. I'm not sure that we meet any E-2000 robots here. I think that those start showing up in Final Fortress. And if the E-1000 or E-2000 robots has their shield up, you can't hurt them. Even if you are positioned behind the shield. So that's kind of annoying. But, you know, they're fairly fragile. It's usually best to take care of them with Thundershoot, because they seem less attuned to blocking those attacks than they do blocking the attacks of your power character. And here we have a bunch of fans, sort of reminiscent of a shield helicarrier, I guess. And so we're going to ride that past all this stuff and to the next battleship over here. And make sure that we don't get shot at by that big turret there. And this time I don't miss the opportunity for the light speed dash. So I'm trying to figure out if there's somewhere else I can go. There's not really, so we're just going to go down this pathway. And then we get stuck on the top, but that's okay. We'll jump over this turret. And then now we've gotten on top of this battleship. And we can run past these turrets and those mortars and head on down here toward another checkpoint. At this point, all my characters have leveled up all the way, so there's not really a need for that checkpoint other than to serve as a save spot just in case we were to die. And we've now hit the second little propeller section. Again, the game gives you cues as to whether to move up or down with the propeller. So, unless you want to take your fate into your own hands, follow those directions. But we could have jumped off down there and gotten that other propeller. We could have tried to jump off there and grab that box. So again, there's just lots of stuff you could do in this level. And now we come up to another battleship. The battleships are all designed after fish. You can see that this ship is designed after a sturgeon or a swordfish, depending on how you interpret the little bits on its nose. And again, this section is just sort of a repeat of the last section. The only difference is that instead of dealing with turrets, we had to deal with a egg trooper, with a thing. And this guy had a shield, so we couldn't blow him up using Rouge Thundershot like we did the guy in the previous section. And so once again, we're making our way up. Unfortunately, the cannon here disrupted Shadow's hitbox, so we didn't actually do anything there. That at least gave us a shield as we move up to take on the E-1000 robot here. And again, this is what I don't like about these characters. He's shielding so we can't hurt him. So again, if we attack him with Rouge, for some reason he won't shield himself. And here is the end of the level, and we've got a full team blast ready to go. Probably overkill for the 4 enemies in this section, but that opens up the goal ring. We can jump right into it, which is different than the Team Sonic ending. You're actually in the air when you finish, which is kind of cool. So nobody died, best time, most rings, and yeah, you bet. So I was able to repeat the A rank score. So next time we'll try to finish this off in Final Fortress. See you.